The new Chevy 2024 C8 Corvette Eray has been announced today. Let's go over it a little bit while I'm driving to the post office to drop something off and just kind of talk about what are the good things and the bad things of the new Eray. So let's get into it. So, we do have the announcement of the new Eray C8 Corvette. It is all-wheel drive, the first all-wheel drive Corvette ever, like literally ever, and it has a hybrid setup. It has an electric motor in the front, and it still keeps the same LT2 V8 engine that's in the normal C8, combining with a horsepower of 655 horsepower and like 595 pound-feet of torque. It goes from 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. It is the fastest accelerating Corvette ever made as well. And I think in the quarter mile it does 10.5, but take that with a grain of salt because people usually do faster quarter mile times than what's stated, so it can probably run a 10.3 on a good day. Now, I would say the good news about this vehicle is, one, it's all-wheel drive. Like, talk about not struggling for traction regardless of what tire you're on. It does come with all-season tires, the biggest all-season Michelins on the rears ever made on a vehicle, so that's pretty interesting. Michelin had to special make those tires that size to fit in all seasons. Obviously, you get a stickier tire, you're going to have a better 0 to 60 times, and again, you're going to have a better quarter mile time. But all-wheel drive is a pretty huge factor because, again, it's easy to get it to hook up and to go, especially with electric motor in the front, instant torque immediately, things of that nature. It's going to be a beast to drive and a blast to drive. Now, the looks are similar to the Z06. You guys probably can already tell that, so I'm not really going to dive into that so much. It's all about the same. The looks very similar to Z06, except for the rear has the same quad tip exhaust that the base V8 C8 Corvette has, so that's a no-brainer there. But the only issue with this vehicle is, honestly, I think is the cost. The very base price starts out at like $104,000. Now the base Z06 starts at like either $113,000 or $115,000. So don't quote me on that exactly, but that's what it starts out at. It's in the one-teens, which is pretty expensive, and I was surprised that this car was going to be that expensive as well. $104,000. People were speculating, you know, maybe in the 80s, maybe starting at 90. No, it's a lot more expensive. So unfortunately, this car is still going to be priced out well above people's price ranges, because you would have to make some serious sacrifices or make some serious money to get that. I could get one of those, but I'm not going to make the sacrifice. We're going to cam this ZL1. This ZL1 is going to be quicker than any Corvette they're going to make from the factory. And that leads me to the next point. You can't really mod C8s, not really. You could probably squeeze an extra 40 horsepower out of that new Eray because it does still have the V8 with like a ported throttle body. Lingenfelter has a better intake manifold, things of that nature, you know, headers. You could probably squeeze another 40-50 horsepower, which of course is a huge bump for an all-wheel drive vehicle because it does not struggle for traction. So adding 50 horsepower to something like that is huge because of the lack of having any traction issues. It's just not there. So that is a good thing. Will people strap superchargers, or should I say pro chargers, to them and twin turbo them? I don't know. We don't know how the architecture works with the electric motor. It could be simple, it could be hard, who knows. Here's a quick snippet of what it sounds like under acceleration.
That's right, here we go. Yeah! Wow.
It does sound insane. It almost sounds like it's supercharged to an extent. It sounds nuts. So it's definitely a really cool car. I just think it's priced a little too high. The performance is great. Everything about it's great, but it's not going to be as obtainable as we thought it would be. because right now it's pretty much at Z06 levels. So unless GM can make the base C8 pump out maybe a little bit more horsepower for the same price, or at least unlock the tuning for it or something, then we can start seeing leaps and bounds between the base model and the higher trims, because it's a great platform, but GM has to quit being so stickler about it. Let people play with the cars, let them do what they want. If anyone gets in trouble, let the people who are wanting to mod the cars, let them get in trouble. Let people take the risks. But GM, it's not on them. So let me know what you guys think about the new Eray. I love it. Just too expensive, plain and simple. That's really how cut and dry it is for me. Smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already. We got plenty of videos on the channel if this is your first time. A lot of racing videos, a lot of content for the ZL1 if you haven't seen it. A lot of things coming up this year too, so stay tuned for that, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.